Hello and welcome to Faithfully Stampin' with Jennifer Helm. I am Jennifer Helm, the Faithful Stamper, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! Today I have for you a great technique that is quick, simple, uses scraps of designer series paper, and is extremely easy to mass produce. This is the mix and match technique. What we're going to do is take 3 pieces of designer series paper, cut 3 panels from it, and then mix and match them to create beautiful card fronts in no time at all. So stay with me and I'll show you how to do it. We're going to start with 3 pieces of designer series paper. So pick 3 pieces that coordinate. I have mine cut to 6 by 6. You can use 12 by 12 paper, you can use any size paper you want. We're going to cut it down. I simply use 6 by 6 to make it easy to show you on camera because I can cut these all at once, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So you need a paper trimmer. And I just put a brand new blade in mine, so I'll be able to cut these 3 pieces of paper all at the same time. Here's my measurements I'll put over here so you can see. You can take a quick screenshot of that if you need to. Actually, I'm going to flip it over here. That way my hand won't be in the way while I'm cutting. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to cut 1 3/4 by 4 3/4. So I start with 1 3/4 inches wide. Make sure my paper is all lined up and ready to go. Then I'm going to turn it sideways and put it in at 4 3/4 inches. Again, making sure my pieces are lined up. I could do this at one sheet of paper at a time. It would just take a little bit longer. So that's why I chose to do it all at once to save you a little time watching. I'm going to take this stack and set it off to the side. Next, I'm going to line my paper up again, and I'm going to cut it to 1 5/8 inches. So I always fuss a little extra when I'm dealing with 1/8 of an inch. I'm always afraid I'm going to cut wrong. These pieces you can save to use on another card or cut some more strips out of later. Up to you. Then again, I'm going to turn my card side or my paper sideways, and I'm going to cut first. I'm going to jump down to the bottom here. I like to cut my long piece first. So 2 7/8 inches. And then there's a stack. And then 1 3/4 inches is my last measurement. Same width. These little pieces are extra. And then the ones you just cut, you got a stack. That's all the cutting you need to do for the designer series paper. So here's one last look. If you need to take a screenshot, pardon me, I'm going to grab some water. And then I'm going to show you what you should have to look at. You should have a large rectangle, a smaller rectangle, and then a mini, which is, it's almost going to look like a square. And you should have one in each of the 3 papers that you picked. So my next step that I like to do is I like to lay out my mix and match before I do anything else. So I will take the large rectangle for each set and set it like that. Then I grab my mini rectangles and I start mixing and matching. So I'm going to put this here, this one over here, and then like this. And then for your third piece, you're just going to fill in the blank with whichever piece you haven't used yet. Like so. Now if you've got a more solid piece like I do here, you can kind of turn it around. You could experiment a little if you wanted and see if you like any other like swap of the cards. It's really, really up to you how you do it. Now I messed that all up. Nope. But basically you're mixing and you're matching. So when you're happy with your mix and match, the next step is to grab a cardstock piece. Your cardstock piece you want is, sorry that's crooked, 5 by 3 3/4 inches. So a little bit smaller than what I call the standard panel or insert for your card, just by 1/4 inch all the way around. So 5 by 3 3/4. It's going to give you a little bit bigger of a border on the front of your card. Now, my card bases are all going to be Night of Navy. So what I like to do is slide some of my paper out here, is grab a card base, and then I'm going to see, what do I like? I've got yellow, I've got Pool Party, and I've got Melon Mambo. So let me see if I like, do I like this one yellow? And I think I do, because that really makes that yellow pop. Now, I don't need to drag all 3 card bases out here if they're all the same color. You can mix and match your cardstock. You can use 3 different color card bases. You can use all the same, use different color panels. Totally up to you how involved you want to get. So, let me try this next one. One pink. And I think I like that. And then I will bring over another card base so we can see. How about Pool Party for this one? Do we like that, or is it too much blue? And you can, if you've got different colors, bring them over. Oh, I think I like that better because it really makes that blue pop. What do you think? So I think we'll skip the Pool Party on this one and use the pink and the Daffodil Delight. And there we go. So, next up, you start gluing things together, one at a time. So I'm going to start with my larger rectangle, and I just realized I'm just out of Stampin' Seal. I ran out of my other adhesive earlier, so I'm going to show you quick how to do a refill here. Our Stampin' Seal Plus, you can buy the whole thing, and you can also buy just the refills. Saves you a little money. The refills come in these cute little bags, and it's super simple to replace. You open the bag, slide it on out, and then you'll line up these 2 little holes with the 2 little prongs in the dispenser, slide the top half on, and you're ready to go. A little tutorial if you haven't seen the Stampin' Seal or the Stampin' Seal Plus, they both work the same way. So I start with my larger rectangle, and once I get this one going here, should be good to go. I ran my glue a little off the edge. I was so excited to have a new refill, so I'm going to tuck that back behind because I don't want extra glue anywhere. So then leave yourself a little bit of a border and decide if your paper has any orientation, decide how you want to put that together. I think I'm going to do this way. I might think way outside the box on this one. We'll see. Then I usually do my larger rectangle next, or I guess it's more the smallest rectangle, and I line it up. So I'm trying to leave the same border around the edges and then line up the bottoms of my Designer Series paper. And then the last square, you're just going to line in. Now, be careful. One, it's very close to being a square. It's not quite. So one way, it's just a smidgen longer. So make sure you have it oriented correctly, or else it's going to look just a little funny. So make sure it's the long way is vertical when you're putting it together like this. Okay? And again, you just kind of line it. This one's the tricky one because you're lining it up on 3 sides. Perfect. And I'm not going to glue it to the card base yet. I'll tell you why in a minute. So I'm just going to set that to the side and start gluing the rest of these. Now hopefully you can see already how these could be easily mass produced, because you're cutting 3 sheets of paper, you're creating 3 card fronts at a time. So if you want to mass produce, you can cut 6 at a time, 12 at a time. If you're using 12 by 12, you can easily, you're going to get at least 12 cards, because you get 3 from each 6 by 6 section, and you have, if you're cutting 6 by 6 chunks, you've got these leftovers. So chances are you can get, like I've got 2 sets here, I could get another of each card out of these. So I've got room to play. But you can also use other DSP, like 12 by 12 or 8.5 by 11, whatever you've got. and that will work too. So very easy to mass produce. All right, one more to go here. And I will show you in just a little bit how you can dress these up. You can keep them simple, or you can embellish to your heart's delight and really go to town. Totally up to you and how much you want to play. So once I get all these finished, I'm not going to jump right into gluing the card fronts on yet because I want to think about it for a minute. Do I want to add ribbon, or am I happy just with the card being simple? So I'm going to fold my card bases, and I'm just going to lay all my cards out for a moment so I can take a look and kind of at a glance figure out what I want to do with these cards. And I think I might go a little crazy with this one. All my cards that I've done so far have been in the vertical orientation. I actually, while I was putting this paper down, I like this paper here running sideways. So I'm actually going to make this card horizontally. I have some samples to show you that other way, but I'm actually going to make one on camera for you to see. So here are the 3 card fronts that I'm working with. So do I want to add ribbon? I brought over some polished pink, which goes with my Melon Mambo. You can't really tell, it's a different color. So do I want to add any? I think I'm going to put some pink ribbon here on this card, and I might just leave the other 2 the way it is and embellish them with other embellishments, like some enamel gems. So since I've decided I'm going to put ribbon on that one, I'll start with these 2. And I'm simply going to add some adhesive and glue these right on the front. Now remember, they do have a little bit bigger of a border if you're used to working with 5 1/4 by 4. Speaking of 5 1/4 by 4, if you want to get a little fancier, add another layer of cardstock. So these were 5 by 3 3/4. You can add another layer and step your card up a notch. And I think I'm actually going to do that. I'm getting really creative here. So you can add that extra layer of cardstock. It will make your card a little bit heavier. And honestly, if you wanted to, you could even use instead of cardstock, you could use Designer Series paper. Just remember, you're going to cover most of it up, but if you've got something that you like for your background, you could make that work for you. You also have the option, if you choose, instead of 3 pieces of Designer Series paper, use 2. And then for your 3rd piece, either stamp tone on cardstock, or, making sure I'm gluing that the right way, just my luck, I'd glue it upside down. Or you could emboss cardstock, and so you could have 2 panels of Designer Series paper, and then your 3rd could be an embossed cardstock. That would probably work really well with the 3 papers I picked here. All right, so these 2 are done. And now I'm going to put some ribbon here. Now I'm going to show you my favorite cheat. So I like to secure my ends of my ribbon with tape. Some people probably wouldn't like that, but it's the way I like to work it. So I cut my ribbon a little longer than I need, and I grab some good old Scotch tape, tear off a couple little pieces, and I use this to anchor my ribbon. Part of why I'm putting it here where I am is there's one little speck of that darker blue, probably it was the tail end of this piece. I thought I had glue there. It's actually part of the paper. So I'm going to cover that up. You can still kind of see it. We might come back and cover it up some more later, we'll see. But I just tack my edges down with my tape. I always make sure before I glue it anymore that my ends are crooked, because I'm famous for gluing crooked ribbon on things. And now that I'm happy with it, adhesive, and I do tend to use a little more adhesive when I have something like a ribbon break in the on the back of the cardstock. I don't want it to pull off and fall apart. I don't want my card recipient to get a card that falls apart. So I just use a little extra adhesive on those. Okay, So here we go, 3 card bases, just like that. Now I want to add my sentiment. So I pre-stamped and pre-cut a handful of things. For starters, I have, these are our lovely label punch. I love this punch. I'm always trying to find ways to use it. And this is a 2-piece stamp here. It's the happy birthday in the middle and then the outline stamp as well. And then I punched it to get the beautiful shape. So I did these in a couple different colors. And then I also used my oval punch and I punched a bunch of happy birthdays in different colors. I stamped in happy birthday in different colors. And then I also punched a bunch of the larger scalloped ovals in different colors so I could have some things to play with. So now I've got these and I can see what I want to do. I'm thinking I should have stamped a pink. I'm thinking I might like that navy. I'm not sure. Or should we do, ooh, maybe that? Yeah, I think I like that. I can use these bigger ones. This yellow one, I'm just not digging tonight. So I'm going to save these and use them for something else. Ooh, I think I like that. You can position your sentiments, whatever your decorative piece is for the front. Position it anywhere on the card you like. I have a tendency, I've noticed, to cover up the intersection. I don't always do that, but sometimes I do. I could put this larger piece down here somewhere. I could swap it out. I just want to show you some different ideas. I could put this down here at the bottom, and then I could tie a bow and have that at the top. I could do anything I wanted with it. So be creative, have fun. And then, let's see. Trying to decide what I want to do on this last one. Do I like that? I think I like that. Let's go with that. You don't want to be here all night. So, now that I've figured out how my sentiments are going to work, I'm going to grab my dimensionals and my adhesive because I didn't glue these things together yet. But this is quick and easy. A little bit of adhesive on the back. And then I can pop some dimensionals on the backs of these. Now since there's no ribbon on here, I'm just going to use large ones. If I was putting ribbon, if I was going to say put this here and straddle the ribbon, I would use small dimensionals and go top and bottom so that it wouldn't stick to the ribbon, it would actually be sticking to the card. But I don't have to worry about that. I am going to use smaller ones here. This is basically the idea I was just talking about. I just got ahead of myself. I'm going to position the dimensionals so they don't interfere with the ribbon, so that this doesn't accidentally fall off the page or off the card. And actually I could position this over here in the middle. I kind of like it off center like that, I think. As I said, it is up to you where you want to put anything on the front of your card. And I think I'm going to skip the bow on that one. Okay, so these could be done right here. I'm going to add a little bling though, because I just like to add a little pizzazz to my cards. So I grabbed some embellishments that I thought coordinated. I have opal rounds. These have a nice little bit of shimmer to them. And I also grabbed, pardon me, my glossy dots. And these I went for because the colors matched. I have Melon Mambo, Daffodil Delight, and Pool Party, which is exactly the colors you're seeing here in these cards. So I can decide which ones of these I want to put on the card. So I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool and see what I want to do with my embellishments here. I'm thinking, I think we're going to do, opal rounds. All I have to do is lock that back in. I'm going to put a couple opal rounds here. I like to do odd numbers when I put my embellishments on. I could even do more. All right, so I'm gonna call that card done. Leaves me with these two. I love that these are on clear backings because you can pull them out of the case, the little packaging they come in, and I love doing this. I like keeping them on the acetate, then moving them around and going, yeah, I like that color, or no, I don't like that color. So I think, let's see here. I'm actually going to do something a little different. I'm going to add 2 of these small pool party dots here and call that one finished. And then let's go back to those opal rounds. And takes me the longest, I swear, to figure out where I want my embellishments to go. Sometimes it takes me longer than putting the whole card together. There we go. I think I like that. So now I've got 3 birthday cards ready to go that all they need is inserts, envelopes, done, right? Now to show you how quickly these can go together, and I'll show you all these at once. Here's those 3 samples I showed you when we started. They're all different, but they're all made with the same paper and the same supplies. So you can really tweak this and do whatever you like with whatever designer series paper and colors you want. I also have another set. It's the same paper, but I used purples. The background paper had some purple and pink in it, so I went with these instead. Quick and simple. Now I've got 9 birthday cards ready to go as soon as I do the inside. And that's quickly. Little panel of Whisper White, little birthday sentiment on the inside to go with a happy birthday on the front, envelope with an accent stamp, done. And I could even I could probably save these. Ooh, this is a great idea. Those scraps you have left over, I don't know how wide these are, they're probably just about the width you'd want on an envelope flap. So, and being 6 inches long, you're just going to have a little to trim off the edge. So if you want, glue it to the envelope flap. Do any trimming necessary. Bonus idea for you. Okay, so I showed you those horizontal cards. So here's some more. These were the original set that I made when I wasn't thinking on the fly. Super simple. Cardstock, designer series paper, and the real reason I changed the orientation on these was I really wanted to showcase this card paper. I wanted it to be more than that narrow little strip where you might get a car or 2 halves of a car. I really wanted to focus on that. And so this changing the orientation was a perfect way to do it. I mentioned earlier, instead of cutting 3, cut 6. That is exactly what I did for this next batch of cards. So I cut basically 2 sets of each of the designs. Now these 2 are, again, super quick and simple because it's the 3 pieces of designer series paper from the He's the Man suite. And these die cuts are part of the set. So all I did was pop them out and glue them right on the card, add a little embellishment, good to go. And I also mentioned earlier adding that extra layer. So here's a card where it's just the card base and the 5 by 3 3/4 with the DSP. This one, I didn't like the colors. They weren't gelling as much for me till I added that 5 1/4 by 4 early espresso layer. Done. Same card. This one has ribbon, but otherwise they're exactly the same, just slightly put together differently. So here I'll show you all of the 6 cards that I made. And again, super quick and simple with that DSP, and everything has a die cut popped on dimensionals. So now I've got a nice little collection of masculine cards to have on hand as well. This is also great for holidays. I have fall. We got fall coming up, right? So I took 3 pieces of our Rustic Harvest paper, and then I started pulling the colors together. I started with the Cajun Craze and the black, but then I decided this one had more Mary Merlot in it, so I pulled in a Mary Merlot card base for that one. Added some accents, stamps, some, this is a retired die cut and retired, these are wooden embellishments, but you can use anything you want to add a little flair to your card. And these are attached with glue dots. Here I added some ribbon and extra embellishments. And then of course this is a great way to mass produce your Christmas cards. If you don't go over the top fancy, which not everybody has to, I like pretty cards, but I don't need to spend hours on end making something that's over the top. And sometimes that takes too much postage to mail too. So these are quick and simple. This one I think is my favorite. It's so simple. It's the Designer Series paper, 1 strip of ribbon, that little sentiment popped, and a couple of pearls. So easy peasy. So that is our quick and easy mix and match technique. I hope you enjoyed this. I know this isn't an over-the-top technique, but sometimes we need something quick and easy, right? So I hope you enjoyed learning it. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. That way you'll get to see all the techniques that I put up here on the page. You can click the notification bell and you will be notified each time a new video is posted. You can also follow me over on Facebook as The Faithful Stamper. I have Facebook Lives a couple times a week, and you'll also see different specials if you're interested in them with Stampin' Up, and different contests or things that I offer there on the Facebook page exclusively. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and happy crafting.